Ha ha ha! Ooh. Hi! Welcome, welcome. I am Chamberlain Jonas of the Wayward Inquisition, here on a mm, warm Thursday evening here in Indiana. It's not too bad, and it feels pretty good in the studio right now, so it's all good, as they say. Okay, I am audioed. We're kind of paranoid about it when your audio stops audio in midstream. It tends to put the fear of God inside you. But I hope everybody is doing well. We at the Wayward Inquisition are doing awesome. If you haven't heard, we are DMing D&D one-shots at the Eminence Kentucky Ren Fair for basically the entire season. There's 2 weekends that we won't be there, um, and then one weekend I think we're just there on Sunday. But, like, one of them's the July 4th weekend because, you know, we got family holiday stuff to do. Really, nobody's going to go out to the fair. It's kind of, not worth showing up to do. I'm sure they'll get some people, but. And I don't really remember the other ones, but that's alright. And if you have been enjoying these civilization buildings with the different races, let me know in the comments if you have a favorite race that you would like me to do. I'll give it a shot. So last week was Turtles. Had to remember there for a second. And yeah, Turtles were pretty great. I mean, they're just a fun race in general to play as. But yes, this week we're doing Elves. And I think I've thought about it a little bit during work today. And I think you're going to like the little twist that I add to these elves. Now, normally, whenever I do these, I kind of go for a kind of a realistic approach, and I'm still going to with elves, but yeah, I guess the twist I'm adding to them doesn't really change that too much, but it does. It sort of makes it feel like I'm changing them for more story purposes, if that makes sense. And as always, I like to inform of what I'm listening to as I do this. Tonight's album is Alienation from 3 Days Grace. Pretty awesome band. Let's see. Let me get to my note page. Also, by the way, for those tuning in while this is live, uh, think of me as a real life assistant for you. It was kind of how this stream started was I would be working on stuff, but the main objective would be, if you're working on a character and you're stumped, or if you're trying to make a pantheon for your book or your campaign, you could chime in and we could bounce ideas. And I'm here to help you. It has not really worked out that way, but we've had a couple people chime in and ask questions, and so that's felt good. But yes, so step one, what race are we doing? Elf. Step 2, we're going to go for the realistic approach. I'm going to say realistic-ish. And let's see. There's not really an order that I do these in, but it does kind of help me. Oh, yes. So, where am I going to place these elves to live? Would they be more forest, cavern, sea? There's so many options, and that is the great thing about elves. If you're new to our channel, Courtney and I, heavy emphasis on Courtney. But we love elves. I know that's kind of, I would say, a pretty common thing that a lot of people like elves, but I mean, they're just so versatile in how you can make them look and be, and it fits and it makes sense, and they just look so cool in whatever way you have them. It's one of the, I think I mentioned it last time, or no, time before last when I did the dwarves. Dwarves just, they're not my favorite. I don't like them. They feel really kind of restrained in how kind of they can be. And I know it's like, oh, but use your imagination and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I've tried. Yeah, it's just they feel so niched into their role that putting them out in different things just it doesn't seem to work. But elves, my man. We'll go with forest. We'll be a little standard today. Nothing too fancy there. The big kind of twist is gonna come from kind of the elven biology that I'm going with. So of course they are, they have ever life. They are eternal. They can live thousands of years. I don't know if this is mentioned in things, but I like to think that one thing about elves is, they're really beautiful and just handsome, and I mean they are basically the perfect being. That's kind of that's their niche. And with elves, I like to think that they keep their beauty as they age. Like in some media, you'll see an old elf and, they'll be all wrinkly and like, oh, yes. But, hey, Robert's here. Sup, dude? But with elves, I think that when they hit that peak and then they just keep that same beauty and image for the rest of their life, So they could be, even if the long-lived races, I mean, most of the time they do still have a death date, if you will. But even with elves, I would think you could be basically in the senior years of that immortal lifespan, and they would still look the same as like when they were 30. Instead of like being like, oh, I'm this old wizened elf with a long gray beard, and no, they would keep those luscious locks and everything forever. Let's see. So, eternal beauty. Now, oh gosh, if I can spell. Beautiful. Thanks, Bruce Almighty. Now, the twist that I am going to put on these elves, and I'm kind of proud of this. Not sure if it's been done, but hey, me too. Yeah, this is going to be a good one. I think you're going to like this little twist that I came up for the elves. So, oh, long day of work and applying to new jobs. Been there. I am really happy I found the Squire Boone Village when I did, because it's crazy how you will send out 24 applications and get 0 responses. Where, I don't know, like back whenever, oh man, that was probably, in my 20s, I'd apply to a place and I would hear back the next day. Okay, whoa. Now, I'm not at Squire Boone, the cave. I am at Squire Boone Village, which is what they call their warehouse here in New Albany. Not here. This is Sellersburg. But yeah. And so basically all of the stuff you see in the Squire Boone Cavern gift shop, like the candies, that's what I pack and redistribute all day. There's another wing where they do the jewelry and the gemstones. They told me that they make 3 different candies there, and it was the rock candy. That's kind of the thing. It's basically rock candy, but it's just loose chunks, and I think they call it like rock crunch or something like that. And then I can never remember what the third thing is that we make there. But New Albany is awesome. I love that it's kind of small town, and it's so close to so many big places. You know, if you want to go see beautiful mountains and whatnot, you drive, 2 hours or something to hit Tennessee, and then with Columbus, Ohio, there's usually big events going on over there. Yeah. Anywho, if you're new, I've been saying that a lot this stream so far, but it's true. If you're new, just be aware that we digress a lot on this channel because we're just here to hang out, be cool, chill. So, elves are really connected to the Fae, I think in the origins and whatnot they are from the Fae wilds. And then I don't know if they ever explain that, but somehow creatures, after they've been in the mortal plane for so long, I guess they just kind of become it. Let's see. I wonder if it mentions. Let's see. Fairy lights. Yes, they're beautiful. We've been over that. Tall. Sorry, I'm reading the 5e kind of notes over elves. Yeah, it's not really going into their Fae ancestry, but yet they have that trait, Fey and ancestry, which helps them like not be charmed and all that. But so yeah, they have this connection to the Fey, and more than likely they came from there, as I said. And so I was thinking, that they have to do that trance. They don't sleep. They kind of sit there and they meditate. So this is kind of a two-parter thing. So firstly, the reason why they meditate is so that they can keep their physical form. If an elf being from the Fey Wilds, that's where they came from. If they don't meditate regularly, they will start to lose shape, essentially, and revert back into the wilds. Which, the Fey Wilds are typically a really great place to be, but it's not real. And so that's why they like to stay here in the mortal plane. And so a lot of them will get that meditation in so that they can stick around. The other thing with this is, elves are often depicted as, since they're connected to the Fae, it's also like, oh, and, innately, they're just really good spellcasters and magicians. And it's like, okay, let's work with that. So, the creatures in the Feywilds, to me, they aren't real, because it's kind of like a dream world, essentially. And with how kind of weird the Feywilds can be, it just seems like a very illusionary place. So, when they come to the mortal plane, they got to meditate to keep their form, but then also they have to ingest mana potions kind of on the daily to help keep themselves just to keep themselves going, essentially. They would still eat and drink and all that, but that's almost more secondary or just out of enjoyment, where each day they gotta sit down, make this mana potion and drink it. And because mana potions are a pretty common thing in fantasy worlds, especially in the video game realm. So yes, our elves are Fae. They trance to keep their physical form. Physical. Yes, man, a potion. And drink mana potions daily to keep their magic a-flowing. Because, being in the mortal plane, even though they're still connected to the Feywilds, they're kind of cut off, So they would need that potion to keep their magic going. I also just really like the image of this, very finely dressed high elf person kind of sitting at their little dainty table, the woods all around them, and their butler comes out with this tray, and they take this hot cup of mana, and they're just like, oh, nectar of life. see. So, okay. So we got our elves. We got where they're going to live. So next up is going to be kind of how will these elves structure their society? Like how do they build things? Is it going to be standalone buildings? Is it going to be inside of trees? Because being Fae, they just have that connection and love of nature. So I have that they're going to be in a forest, sticking with the kind of standard forest elves. And I'm going to say they will use the environment to build into. So tree houses. I'm even gonna say under hill houses, because I mean not all forests are just flat. You know, some of them have some elevations in there. So if there was a little hill thing, or even a cliff face, I would think elves not wanting to take away from the natural beauty too much, they wouldn't build like log cabins or anything. No, they would build their house into the tree or into the hill. Let's see. And it would be pretty spaced out. So like the dwarves, I had them build really close to each other because they were blind, and so, you know, you wouldn't want anything to be built far away because you'd probably get lost on your way to it. The turtles were kind of in the middle. It's not like they were building right on top of each other, but they also weren't building like super far apart. But no, elves, because the thing I think about with elves is that they do, well, some of them, you know, there's going to be variety, but in general, I think they do like people, but they kind of just like to be left alone. I see them more as a introverted society. And so yeah, they would be spaced out. But also so they would have room to grow gardens. Because if you need to survive off of mana potions on the daily, and I'm just saying, mana potions probably aren't an easy thing to craft. So you would want to have probably multiple gardens with the desired ingredients growing, so that in case something happened to one, you know, you had your backup. Sorry, I'm gonna silence my phone just in case, because you wouldn't believe it, but it's very common that once when you start streaming, that's when everybody decides to try to talk to you. Let's see. And oh, this is a important thing to note. All structures built would be elegant and what's the word? yeah, well, you get what I'm saying. They ornate. Yes, that's the word. Whew. Yeah, the elves, they definitely like things to be pretty and intricate. Where, if a human were to build a house into a tree, they would get the basics in there, but it might have a little razzle dazzle depending on the person. But I'd say more often than not, it's just going to be like, okay, let's get that house in there and be done. Let's see. So, where they live, how they build. Oh, yeah, I kind of covered that already. But yeah, elves, they would be omnivores, but eat more for enjoyment. Mm. And yeah, what materials would they build out of? Kind of covered that one. Ah, yes. Is there an authority? Yeah. Elves, even though they're like from the Fey Wilds and are very, well, just free spirited, they do, I would think that they would still like to have some kind of authority, because even in the Fey Wilds they have the council. There's like the Seelie court and unseelie court. In life, will I just do that? There's one Fey queen. That's also for lore reasons, because the rest of them are dead. So yeah, we'll go. Mm, they, because Fey creatures are also really intrigued by the mortal plane people. So I would say they would probably mimic them. So yeah, they would have a king and queen that they probably selected, like, oh yeah, you've been over here the longest, yeah, so you know how this works better. Why don't you two take charge? And let's see, king and queen. Mm, how would they vote? Would one just take charge and be like, yes, I am the king? Renee! Hi, Renee! Ah, I haven't voted yet on the pictures. That's also because I don't think I have either of yours Facebooks. So it's a little hard to vote on a picture. But we can get that later. So yeah, king and queen. These elves are feeling a little kind of, I don't know, naive, but no, they'd be wise enough to know that they would need like knights and an army. So yeah, we're gonna go with that the king and queen were chosen by who was the oldest and has been in the mortal plane longest. Let's see, you need to vote 9. Okay, 9:15 photo. Gotcha. Oh, I kind of touched on that a little bit, but yeah, they would have, they would have guards and knights to patrol around, keep the peace. Because I mean, especially living so long, they wouldn't be naive to the rest of the world. I mean, the Fey Wilds often reflect the mortal plane. So they would know that they would need to learn how to fight. Oh yeah, we'll put that later. I was just thinking about their love of the arts. Yes. This one's one of my favorite parts of it to go over. So if other races exist, yeah, they would like the elves. But they would see the elves as lazy or undriven, because I mean, it would just be true. If you live forever, there's no rush to do anything. If you want to spend a whole month painting one picture, you can totally do it. And so yeah, other races would see them as that, but also as very wise and skilled. Dwarves often get the staple of being like, oh, dwarves, they're the best craftsmen. And I no, I don't believe that. I know that dwarves can also live a long time, so there's some weight to it. Yeah, I'm sure they're really, skilled at the craft. But yeah, I would think that elves would just be better at it. Since they live even longer, they would hone that talent further and further until it was just such a fine art. Oh yeah, some might view elves as arrogant or pompous. Oh yeah, they would definitely. Some would view them with jealousy. Because, I mean, you live forever, you stay in your peak physical form forever. That's a big one. If you had become best friends with an elf, and over time you start hunching and wrinkling and getting gray, meanwhile your buddy is just as spry as the day you met him, there could be, that's the key word, there could be some resentment there, And then yeah, and others would admire them. Yeah, elves are, they're just the whole package, you know? Now to flip it, the elves would see the other races as naive or childlike. Some might even view them more as pets, you know. Oh yeah, I befriended this human the other day. He's so adorable. He thinks he's gonna become this world famous swordsman. But he's already in his 30s, so he's practically dead. And then, yeah, oh, I don't think I finished that train of thought. So yeah, they would see them as like naive or childlike, and uh, whew, with some um, enacting as guides and teachers, while others just dismiss them. Yeah, you're gonna get so much variety with the elves, because it could be that for 2,000 years this elf might just be like, no, I'm not gonna help those dwarves. They're stinky. They're they're losers. They hide underground all the time. Ah, rah, 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 rah. And then, they hit 3005 and they're like, you know what? They've been struggling for such a long time. Fine, let me go see what I can do. And then they would go help him out. Mm, they oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Um Elves would really only export because their craft is so refined and just superior. I don't see them buying anything from the other people other than if it was just out of fun. Like, oh, look at this adorable painting this guy did. You know what? I'll take it. I'll put it up on my refrigerator. And yeah, the only thing I could really see them try to import would be uh, spell components, ingredients, that sort of stuff. Because even though they could probably grow a good portion of what they needed, you're gonna need just a little assistance with some things. All right. I think that was the lengthiest one I've done for that section compared to the other ones. Um. Mhm. Mhm. Let's see. Oh yeah. So let's go back to the Elven biology real quick. So one thing that I think we overuse or even misuse with immortal races is that they have the most impeccable forever memories. They can recall what happened, 3,000 years ago. They were there and they can tell you in detail of who was wearing what the food tasted like. Hmm. Oh, if we changed that, that might drastically alter the elves. If they just had, we'll just say, normal people memory, by the time they hit 1,000, they're gonna have forgotten so much stuff. Some old dwarf would come up to an elf and be like, "Oh, it's been so long, Ethaniel. How have you been?" And the elf is like, we've met. Who are you?" Wait. We adventured together? Huh. I don't really remember this. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna keep that they have uh basically photographic memories, because if I change that now, that's gonna change a lot of what I have made so far. But that is something to consider when you are writing a book or world building. Um, you will be amazed at the um, smallest change to a thing, how it affects so many other things. Mm. Oh, yes, education. They are gonna. Yeah, it's. No, yeah, they would. They are all about being educated. Because, I mean, they have a lot to cover. So they just throw you in and. And honestly, yeah, with their photographic memories, they want to teach you as much as they can when you're young, and all that, because then you have that info for the rest of your life. Education is super, super extreme important. Now, I know what you're thinking. But yeah, you said that the other races view them as being lazy, so wouldn't they take their time with education? And no, and that's the thing, is the other races sort of, you know, see them as being lazy. That doesn't mean they are. I would say elves are actually kind of just busy all the time. They just focus on, I would say, more menial tasks or something like that. But yeah, education super important. Um, yeah, they would also welcome really any and all to come learn. Because I mean, it kind of depends on the stage of the lifespan of the civilization. But I mean, being from the Feywild and kind of being built around that, they would want to hear from the students that came from the outside kind of just as much as they would like to educate them on, like, we figured out the most efficient way to do this thing is this. because yeah, the Fae just they love the mortals, and so yeah, the elves would be so interested in any outsider that came in. Mm, mm-hmm. Okay, so education. Oh, um, yes. Also, things would be like their histories and whatnot would be written, would be oral, uh, painted. Basically, uh, they would record in every medium. I mean, just because you have forever, like, oh yeah, what if we turn the story into a pottery set? Yeah, that'd be fun. That'll keep me busy for like 2 years. Trades. Oh, well, kind of already covered that one a little bit. I mean, yeah, they would. Not only would they trade in it, but they would excel in every craft and and merchandise. What can I say? Elves are just perfect because they have the time to be. Let's see. Oh yeah, military. Yeah, they definitely would have a military. Mm. And see, this is the thing. Elves they're just so versatile. Even with this group of elves that I've made. Oh yeah, so many details. Um and I mean just elves in general, to say they wouldn't be conquerors wouldn't be right. And then also saying like, oh yeah, and the elves would just go around and conquer everyone. That wouldn't be right. They because some of them, if they got in charge, the king and queen, they might be like, okay, guys, we've tried to help these tabaxi for over 4,000 years now. They're still just living in squalor, and just they're not learning what we're trying to teach them, and they're not worth it anymore. So we're just gonna wipe them out. There'd be elves like that, and then there'd be elves that would be like, we've been trying for 4,000 years now, and maybe we should change our tactic. Maybe we're approaching them wrong. Let's reinvest, dig deep. We gotta save them from themselves, essentially. Nuances. We love nuances. It really, like, it's oftentimes the subtlest things that just really make um, a character pop, a civilization, like that thing with the turtles last week, where it was like, oh yeah, they don't have offspring until they're basically the end of their life. It's like that's a really weird time. They're really old. They wouldn't have the energy to raise the kids. So what do they do with them? It's like, oh yeah, they just give them to people. I I loved that so much. And this past Sunday, uh, so at the Renaissance Fair, we alternate who DMs. So I've been getting to play as a player, which has been really nice. And I have such a huge list of created characters that I'm kind of going through and trying them out. And I had this half orc that I was trying out, and she was so fun to play because she's a bouncer, you know. She's the muscle from this gang. So she's not very bright, but it would be something like the tiefling that was in the party. He was a sorcerer, and oh, and he got into it. He played that character up. It was wonderful. But he was like, "Oh yes, while you all were busy jibber jabbering, I scouted ahead and found us a place to stay tonight. See that structure up ahead?" And then my orc would be like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I saw that. I was totally gonna recommend that anyway. So yeah, good job." So it was just the little things like that, and that from her job of working in this criminal syndicate, you know, she was on her feet all the time, being a bouncer, chasing down the debts, and all that. So I made, I like for the characters to have a hobby, even if it's something really minor. So I was like, yeah, what would she be into? And it was cobbling. So she would fix her shoes up to make sure, like, oh yeah, I've really broken in these heels of the soles. I gotta refresh those, or my Achilles tendon is gonna be shot before I make it up this hill. And she would be kind of judgmental of other people's shoes. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh. D and TTRPG. I know we say D&D a lot, but really just TTRPG. It's the greatest creation in the history of mankind. Thank you, Gygax, and other guy whose name I don't remember. Because you're honestly, how baller is the last name of Gygax? Like, he was destined to make fantasy. uh, Good times. The other day, I looked up to see who created Warhammer because I wanted to add them to the calendar on my phone so I could, celebrate them. Because that's another universe that is just fantastic. Oh, my music's done. Well, let's pick another album, shall we? For those wondering or have tuned in late, I like to share who I'm listening to each week. It's just background music for moi. This week I am doing 3 Days Grace because they are sick, dope, nasty. Okay, so what's next? We talked about trades. We've kind of gone over military. But I didn't really write anything down. So military, yes, but varies on purpose. I mean, I would say there would be some races that they would just go to war with no matter what, and it might be a little cliche, but it probably would be the orcs. They, they're kind of polar opposites of each other, and some races just don't get along. Ooh, yes. If I finish up with elves soon enough, I forgot that um, last time with turtles, I talked about how they would use magic, and I didn't really delve into that with the other ones that I can recall. So I was gonna go back and cover that, but let me, since I'm so far into elves at the moment, let me finish them up. Um, but yes, magics. It'd be everything. Magic is everything. Oh yeah. And the thing is, it's not just because they live so long and are basically so connected to magic that they're so good at it. They, elves, would just genuinely love magic and what it can do. Yeah, they would use it for everything and anything. Yeah, oh man, they would, especially depending on the magic system of the world, they would craft spells and stuff for the most life basic things. It would be something like, oh, you know, oh, the water's going cold. Can you cast a boil spell on it? Oh yeah, sure. And then their water's boiling, and oh yeah, could you heat my tea up? Oh yeah, do do do. That's that probably is my favorite type of magic. Don't get me wrong. I am definitely a blaster caster. I like conjuring big bolts of lightning and blowing stuff up. Um, but the other thing I have always just really loved about magic, and that's really what got me into Harry Potter whenever I was a kid, it was um, the utility of it that I just really enjoyed. Of, oh yes, you set up this single person tent. Oh well, you know, only one person's gonna fit in there. Oh my gosh, it's a huge mansion inside. Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. I love when they, you know, make, you know, basically a bag of holding, just life utility things of, oh yeah, your trash, just put it on that runic circle there and it'll oh yeah, there it goes. Just like Arminius did with the trash cans. Arminius. Mm. If you're wondering, dear viewers, Arminius is a very sexy drow uh, artificer, and I love him because he is just wonderful in his grumpy, grouchy mood. Because he's got that little soft spot to him. It's adorable. And how Courtney drew him, he just looks awesome. But he is from our very first campaign, Treachery, a Governor's Secret, which is available here on YouTube as well as Spotify. So be sure to check it out. That was our first major campaign. It's a dark fantasy story in which we investigate these mysterious, poisonous ish flowers. It's quite the character study, so definitely check it out. But if dark fantasy is not your thing, we also have The Wicked West, a fantasy western. No magic, by the way. We also have a Star Wars duet with Courtney and I. We have a Halo inspired what would you call that? Yeah, it'd be a campaign. Let's kind of think of, because it's kind of a mini campaign, if you will. But Arc Outer Rift. Ooh, that one was really fun. Courtney plays Faraday, and I play Ripley. And they are tieflings, as in this sci-fi fantasy universe that Patrick made, and it's so good. He had these two different speeches for the factions, and it was just phenomenal. It felt so lived in. But we play as knights, which is Patrick's version of the Spartans from Halo. And, you know, we're tieflings because in Halo, the Spartans are, you know, augmented, enhanced humans. And so, yeah, we were tieflings. Ooh, a good question. What happens when elves encounter other long-lived species? Oh, thank you, Robert. You're the man. You're so cool. It is really good. Let's go back up to our meeting other races notes. Meets other long-lived races. On, because I mean, yeah, this is the thing with elves, is you just get so much diversity in there. But let's think with this group in particular. I think they would treat them like equals, and would be like, oh wow, yeah, you're 1001 also. That's amazing. I haven't been able to talk to anybody about this for over 400 years. Yeah, I think the elves would really enjoy other long-lived races. Now, depending on the elves, and kind of the culture of that other long-lived race, I could also see them being like really kind of the classic kind of pompous elf, kind of rude, and be like, okay, you're telling me you have been alive for more than 2,000 years, and this is all you've accomplished? Why haven't you dedicated yourself to this craft? I don't understand. Why are you a failure? That was a good one. Thank you, Robert. Oh, okay. The song was doing something that was like, oh right, it's the music video of it. They don't just play the song, they sometimes have a little intro in there. So yeah, magic, and yeah, I mean they would just delve into everything. Religion, ooh. We came from a whole different solar system. We are enjoying the life of simplicity. Oh, wow. Yeah, if they encountered something that came from a whole other... Oh, they would be so fascinated by that. They'd be like, okay, How did you get here? How can we go where you came from? Yeah, elves, and I'd say especially these elves would just be so curious about everything. Religion. Hmm. They came from the Fae, so I would see them more spiritual, but not religious. Of course, you would get some within the society that would be like, yeah, I started praying to the humans gods, and yeah, it sort of feels like something's been working behind the scenes. So I kind of just like the community of it. But overall, yeah, I think they would just be spiritual. Have you for a lifetime? Have you for a lifetime? I love this song. It's so good. Mm, oh, yeah. So I mentioned this with the Turtles that their society, that it would just be relaxing and fun. They really, like, the Turtles wouldn't pursue things to overachieve or something. Um, I keep forgetting that I need to think on with these elves specifically because my mind just keeps going to elves overall. Um, hmm. I mean, they are from the wild, so yeah, fun would be important. Learning, um, uh, yeah, self improvement would be a big thing because, yeah, I mean, kind of because they live so long, even though they have plenty of time to take their time to learn things and grow. Also, I would think from the other elves, it would be like, oh, Elandril, you're 2002 now, and you're still having troubles with this? Maybe if you weren't having wild parties all the time. Mm, mm, society. I yeah, I think I got everything for the elves. So, let's see. Let's go back to the first one. it did go pretty quick, um, which kind of makes a little sense. I mean, the more I do this, the kind of the faster at creating I'll be able to do. But it is also 8:40, and I usually go from 7:30 to 9. So, but yeah, usually I'm going right up to like 9 o'clock. But I'm getting good. But yeah, let's go back. So the very first one I did the shifter race, but normally it's a really kind of wolfman based shifting, and I added the twist that they were more bird like. So whenever they shifted to their more feral form, they would grow wings and stuff like that. So magic for them. Mm, I'm not I'm not really gonna go into would this race be magic? Could they even do it? Because I like it when there's some races that just are not magic casters at all. Like they are just strictly normal people. Okay, so the shifters, if they had magic, what would they use it for? Hmm. I would say they would probably be a little bit more offensive with it. Uh, Being the kind of hunter gatherer society that they are, they would want magics to help assist with the hunt. And if they were being attacked by a force, or if they needed to go attack another thing, I could see them, using magic to assist them in that. Ooh, yeah, subterfuge and crowd control. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for these hawk shifters. It would also be, oh, yeah. It would, how do I phrase this? They would be, many of the offensive spells wouldn't be like a, ha, I cast this at you. It would be a, I'm flying overhead, drop the ice bomb. Oh my gosh. You know how cool that would be and how terrifying to be in a war and then there's these hawkmen flying above you, dropping fireballs from the sky. Oh, geesh. Um, they are also kind of a. I had them as being just a more spiritual, nature based society. So they would have, they'd have support spells. Um, but more like plant growth. Yep. Uh, Fighters might have a little better luck because they're just skilled with every weapon. So, if they could find a bow. But yeah, barbarians, those poor guys. They would scream at them in rage and try and force them to come down. You pansy! You get down here right now. Fight me man to man. All right, and then magic hawks. Yeah, it'd be supportive, it'd be more natural. Actually, yeah, that's a good distinction. Their offensive spells would be very elemental. Nature magics. Basically, they would be druids, I would say. Yeah. And I mean, elves are casting everything because they're just so curious, and what else are they gonna do with their time? Why not learn all of these different magics? The dwarves. Okay, they're blind. Um, let's see. If they were magical, okay, living underground, blind. Honestly, yeah, they would have sight magics to help them locate objects and stuff if they could cast. Yeah, they would use offensive spells for digging. Oh hey, uh, uh, Jonathan's getting ready to clear that hallway. Everybody out. It basically they would use fireball like we use dynamite to, clear routes. um would they do more elemental style magics? Being surrounded by stone. On one hand, I would think that they would use earth magics. But would be. Yeah, I don't know. That one's an interesting one. Yeah, being blind and underground. Those first two, yeah. Using sight magic and then offensive spells for like digging, that came really naturally. Would they use. I mean, more than likely, if you're going to have magic, you're going to have spells for war. But also, these dwarves were so work ethic driven that if they did use magic, it would be really limited. Don't use your magic to clear those rocks. We men can do it, Get tough, get gruff. Huh, huh, huh. They're all Tim the Tool Man. I can't believe they're doing another Toy Story. It's so just let it die, guys. And it's so weird because Woody's back somehow. I don't know. I'm sure they'll explain stuff, maybe. And 3 was such a good finale. Overall, it really wasn't that good of a movie. It was kind of, I don't know. It just felt kind of bland until you hit the end, with Andy saying goodbye to his toys. And, like, that was good. But yeah, there was just something about it where it didn't resonate with me. I do like that they're making Tech the bad guy in it, because it kind of is. Like, I love technology, but also it's kind of ruining us. Only seen the first 2. Good. Just stop there. You're really not missing anything. Okay, so we did dwarves, and then... Oh yeah, it was just those first 2. I'm not sure why I was thinking like, oh wow, yeah, there's gonna be all these races I have to go back and do magic for. Yeah, this is only like, what, the 4th society? Yeah. All right. Well, very good, very good. 850, perfect. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this live stream, or POV if you watch it later. Hope it helped inspire, maybe give you some creative juices. Maybe you got something from it, maybe you didn't. Either way, comment away. Let us know. Really, just let us know. Talk to me. And thank you, Robert, for tuning in and for that great question. That was a good one. Let's see. I know I've kind of been over this already, but it's kind of what we do when we end the stream. We got to do that wrap up. So we are DMing at the Kentucky Renaissance Fair and in Eminence. Sessions are on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, 11, 1, 3, and 5. Sundays, noon, 2, and 4. And then... we've been in talks with... there's an event that's going to happen around here called the Imaginarium, where it's like a bunch of creators just come together and talk about their craft. And so they reached out to us because of a friend, and unfortunately, it's happening during the Ren Fair, and we're already committed to that. But next year, we're going to be there, more than likely. Yes, we have plenty of VODs for you to watch here on YouTube as well as Spotify. We have Dark Fantasy with Treachery, a Governor's Secret, as well as Treachery, a Lord's Gambit, which is the sequel that we're playing through now. Courtney is the DM for both of these, and she's phenomenal. Patrick and I, especially with Lord's Gambit, it's getting good. It's getting freaky, and I love it. If you've watched A Governor's Secret and then are watching Lord's Gambit, yeah, our characters are so vastly different, which you should get some good variety in there. But our characters in the sequel are quite more unhinged, in the best way. Yes, I agree. The next one does need to come out. Do we have a next one? Uh, hmm. How many have we recorded? Yeah, I don't know. But if fantasy is not your thing, as you may have seen here by my lovely display, uh, this is the artwork that Courtney has done. Yes, that is a Clone Trooper helmet, because Courtney and I did a Star Wars duet, her as the player, me as the DM, in which it followed Sundry, a Clone Trooper turned Jedi Hunter. So after Order 66, after, the clones did their thing, Sundry said, hey, you know how we did that? I want to do it more and better. And he does. Let's see, have done a fifth. Yeah. Yes. See. So yeah, we got Star Wars as a sci-fi. We also have Patrick's Halo-inspired Arc Outer Rifts, which is just a really fun. He really took the concept of a first-person shooter and put it into tabletop form. And it worked really well. He made everything, like how the guns worked, how our shields worked. It was really just it was so good. It was also the first time that Courtney and I's characters didn't get along, but did. It was an interesting dynamic. And then, if by some chance sci fi is not your thing, well, guess what? We have a Western. It is fantasy, but you know what? There's no magic. It is just pure Western with a little, you know, advancement fantasy stuff thrown in, of course. And yeah, Wicked West. I am the DM for that one. And Courtney and Patrick have really enjoyed that one. I'm looking forward to. I'm thinking this coming Monday we're gonna do the first live stream of Wicked West. We skipped this past Monday because we had just done the Ren Fair, so we were kind of recovering from that. Patrick had some kind of work event to do. And even though we're going to have the Ren Fair again this weekend, we're going to have built up that stamina that, for it. So I feel like we'll be more in the mood to D&D Monday night. And it's popping off right now. Oh, really? That's great. Yeah, I rarely look at our YouTubes to see how they're doing. But yeah, that's good to hear. Oh, that reminds me too. This coming Tuesday, and I'm thinking pretty much every Tuesday until I run out of them. I have recorded way back when. I recorded a good amount of little, like 15-minute world building videos, and I am going to upload those and post them on Tuesday. So be sure to check it out. So, like, as an example, in one of them, I talk about red dragons, and I, go over what D&D says about them. I give my thoughts on them, how I've used them. So yeah, if you're looking for something more bite-sized, yeah, hopefully those little recordings do you good. Let's see. I mean that Wicked West is getting. Oh yeah, yeah. they've hit a really good little climax in the story right now. And yeah, this next Wicked West, mm, mm, I feel like I'm doing a lot of stuff for Amos, but trust me, with what I have planned for Rory, it's really good. And I need to because Wicked West is going to be I kind of plan for it to be an anthology. Is that the word? Yeah. So once when they finish, I think novellas were popular in the Western time. So I'm referring to these as novellas. So the one that they're in now, once it'll end, and hopefully we'll start up another one, and they can either play as the same people if they're still alive, and or make new characters. Let's see, but yeah, Wicked West. Oh yes, so we are entirely self-funded, self-made. So if you're feeling spicy, we do have a PayPal. If you'd like to just send us like $2, that'd be cool. We also have a Redbubble that a lot of our merch is uploaded onto, and it's exquisite. I know you can see them in the camera view there. These are notebooks that have Courtney's art on it that she made. Guys, I can't stress enough how awesome Courtney's art is. It gets me every time. But yeah, there's stickers, there's notebooks. If you're feeling really frisky, you can even get a shower curtain with our characters on it. It's pretty wild. I had never heard of Redbubble until we started doing this, and I just think they're the coolest thing. They're not a sponsor. It'd be sweet if they were, but we will forever talk them up because the quality is just really insanely good. It ships pretty darn quick for being like custom made items, and price wise, they're really not that bad. Of course, they take a portion, we get a portion. I mean, they're basically doing all the heavy lifting. They should get something. Yeah, PayPal, all that good stuff. I think that done covers it. I'm going to end this one, as I normally do, but also with an added bonus. Yeah. So we have a Discord, which you should totally join. The link is in the description. And practically every Thursday, I have a question of the week that runs, until the next Thursday. And I'm going to start asking them at the end of the stream. So, for those viewing now and in the future, if you were a wingding, what would you sound like? Comment your answers, below. And interested to see what the responses will be. But as always, thank you for tuning in. Stay awesome, stay sexy, and remember that freedom always crits. And go to church. Bye!